Welcome to the Metal Prognosis. My name is Lee. On today's video, we are looking again at dual recording. So splitting off the signal into two different parts and recording them simultaneously from the one performance. The last time I did it with the Swamp DI box here, which is really cool. I won't delve in too much about this because today we are going to try it with the Loopi Pedal, which I bought directly off them. So a little bit different, a little bit smaller. So we'll plug one of the, actually, I'll just set it up right now. It's going to be that quick. Let's see. So we are going to start off with the guitar. So the guitar is going to go into one. Then the signal is going to be split off into two different parts. One of them is going to go into the amp here. Should warm that up. One into there, like so. And here you go, get a bit of a behind the scenes on how I normally do everything, which is I normally tape all this stuff down so when the second camera's here, it's not moving or getting knocked off the table. So one goes into there, the second one is going to go directly into my audio interface. Like so. As I said at the start, I already have done a video on dual recording with using the Swamp box, which is really good. So if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. So it was a fun video. But this one, we're pretty much going to do the same. I have to tape all this stuff down so it doesn't crawl away. And it's nice to know everything's safe and nothing's crossing and there's no wires getting caught up or any interference that you don't want. So now we've got this all plugged in. Let's hop onto the computer, bring up the screen there. And see if we can get the two signals coming through, one being what I like to call a wet signal or a dirty signal that's already got something in it. So I've got the Kraken here plugged into my load box here with two notes here. And we're going to use the cab simulator on here just so it's easy to differentiate between what will equivalently be a full chain setup compared to just the dry signal going straight in there. And we'll just see how it is. Let's see if this holds up well enough and if you can get a good enough signal to do a dual recording, which is extremely valuable and highly recommended for an actual studio session to make sure you have a dirty signal to be able to capture the guitarist's performance the best possible and a dry signal to be able to do editing and to have the leeway to do any fixing up or reamping or whatever else you'd like to do with it. So now I've all plugged this all in, let me reset the camera and let's have some fun with it. All right, now I just moved on to here. Let's first test to see if we're getting good signal coming in with the Kraken. So here is our tracking track here that we have coming through the left. So the left is the Kraken. So give it some volume. I definitely have signal there. Need a monitor so we can hear. So that's sounding really cool. But we do have signal coming through on the dry one here in the second channel. So let's set that up. We want to add track, audio, want a mono, we'll call it DI. So there's our DI track. We want it to come in the right because that's what we're set here on our audio interface. Now, if we just monitor this one, we should only get that dry signal. It's good. We've got good signal coming through. So the fact that we plugged it in and we've split it off into two, it doesn't seem like this is weaker. Use a mouse. I've got a screen grab on. Keep thinking that I'm talking to someone in the room and pointing at the screen. So down here, as we can see the levels coming in here or here, I'll make it a bit bigger for you so you can see. Whoop. There is decent level coming through. A little bit afraid it might be too much. So what I do have here is I've got a little section of a song that I wrote. So I just stole the intro, just so pretty much we can jam along and play today. So I've got the bass and the drums from that. So I say we record it in the style that we need to, which is we have the dirty sound coming through. And then we'll have a look at the dry signal and see what we've got and what we've got to work with. So, prepare myself for recording. And just like every good studio session, always have the clicks on. All right, let's give it a crack. All right, so interesting. We have this coming through here, the Kraken, coming in pretty clean. That's a nice level that we've got coming in here. This I'm definitely not happy with. That is coming in far too hot. As we can see here, we've peaked, which isn't good. So let's just have a quick listen to just the DI track. Very bad. Very, 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 very bad. We don't want that. So I have the input here as low as it can go. So we can't do anything else with the interface here. So we're going to have to think a little bit outside the thing about putting my guitar down properly so I don't drop it or anything. It's a really cool shape. It feels really good to play. Really hard to put on the guitar stand. So we need to figure out how to fix this the best way. So if we just lower the volume, that's not going to fix it because once it has peaked, it's peaked. So it's done and dusted. So this is not usable and you wouldn't want to go through and actually edit all these little peaks out. Because back in the old days, as you can see, there's the not good distortion where it's peaked too much. Back what we used to do is we used to actually get the pencil and manually like take them out like so and do that to clean it up. Because then when you zoom out, it's like, oh, it's not a peak anymore. Look, it's fine. But, you know, it's still there. You can still hear it. But that's how we definitely used to clean up sound back in the early days of digital editing. And I still do that sometimes today. If need be, if it ever calls for it. So it looks really nice. Like you think, oh, wow, that's cleaned up really good. Look at that. It's evened it out. It hasn't. It's a false sense of security that I'm bleeding you into. So how can we actually fix this with the audio interface not being able to turn down enough? What we can do is let's add a pedal before it. Now, a pedal, why would you want to do a pedal? We're doing a clean direct signal here. That kind of defeats the purpose. Hear me out. I'm going to add my EQ pedal, my 10-band EQ to it, and just turn the volume down from that because it's got a gain, but the gain has also got a negative. So I'm going to plug it in, put it to the negative, and see how it goes. So enjoy fast forward mode while I set this up. So now I've plugged it in and it's all ready to go. Let's see if we have less of a signal now. Turn the monitoring on. So that's still peaked a little bit, which isn't good. It's not what we want. So let's see if we can turn it down more. So I'm at -6 now. But let's try recording that again with this all plugged in and see how it sounds. So we don't want to hear the DI signal, but we want to record it. So that's why we turn the monitoring off. We turn the monitoring on for the dirty because that's the fun one. So let me just double check it. Yeah. All right. That's just. Let's just find out. Turn clicks on. So straight off the bat, what we can see here is those levels are a lot more user-friendly. But let's just listen to it anyway to make sure. Still breaking up a little bit. Yeah, so still breaking up a tad, but let's see if it's how it works with reamping it digitally. Reamping it digitally. We go to inserts, we go here, and we just bring up, I've got lots to choose from, but I don't know. Let's go to roots. Roots is pretty cool. So on the stock, none of that. That's a lot of noise. Give us a noise gate. Bit better. Not perfect, but a bit better. Let's crank it a bit. Turn off the good one so we can just hear the. That to me, the start part there, I'll just play it again for you. This is how you know I care about production over playing for these type of videos because, yeah, that was not the best played. But I'm making you listen to it again because we're listening to the quality, not actually judging my guitar. Well, you can judge my guitaring because, well, I'm doing this for the purpose of explaining this to you, not to show off good guitaring. Because when I do proper guitaring work, I definitely don't think about any of this. It's just a matter of just playing and concentrating 100% on that. So we're going to listen to my bad guitar playing again, but listening for the quality. Yeah, so we take that away. That is really peaking there and crackling up. Not so much in the waveforms because you can see they're well leveled out, like for a better term. But you can definitely hear the crackle there. But as soon as you add in the amp, this one being the digital amp that we're reamping it through, it's fine. So firstly, let's go through it again. Without the amp. and now with it. So that type of picking that I'm doing there sounds pretty clear when you chuck it through the amp simulator. Like you can definitely hear all the strums. Which is all you can really ask for. So this is really good, really good. So let me just quickly move you to there. We are going to duplicate this, clean up that just because I'm fussy. We delete that because I've already got one. Let's shrinken this so we can see. I'm really looking forward to getting a new monitor because this is starting to get on my nerves now, trying to fit everything in here because I'm so used to working with 2 monitors. So we will get there though, and we work with what we've got. So here's our dirty sound. So that is as it is. And here are the 2 DI sounds. So we'll mute that, record that, track and record that. And we'll do a left side, or right side, sorry, or however you want to look at it. We're going to do a second side. So now we're hearing only the Victory amp now. Now what you could do is you could have them both on, so you can hear both of them playing at once. Yeah, look, doesn't sound too bad, but I definitely wouldn't recommend it because you want to hear. That's pretty tight though, tighter than what I thought it was going to be. My original speech is going to be, it's best not to do that because it gets too clouded and too muddy, and too much clashes with phase issues and that. But it didn't sound like there was much at all. But I'll still leave it off anyway because it's good practice to only hear the dirty sound coming through and then muck around later on with whatever reamps and what you want to use. So, recording the second one. All right, that felt good. So now we chuck this in, down here in the shrinker one, right. Turn you off. Do you, turn you both off. So now we'll be listening to just the dirty tracks. And now with the reamping, I spoke about this in the other video about all the good stuff you can do with it and all the advantages of doing a dry signal. And here is a prime example of another good thing you can do, which is reamping it either through a different amp or different pedals on internal equipment or internally, which is very popular these days, doing artificial simulators, amp simulators and cabinet simulators, not just simulators by themselves. All right, but we do have one little issue here. I like left and righting mine, so let's left and right those. there we are. It works. I mean, I would have been extremely surprised if it didn't work, but it worked good. So what I do, I'm going to grab my phone here, and I'm going to take a quick picture of the Joyo pedal on how I plugged it in and took all the volume out. One of all the cables everywhere. Everyone loves seeing that, don't they? Maybe. It's really hard to get an angle while you're sitting down. But I insist on progressing. All right. So now I can bring them up during the final thoughts, which is exactly what we're going to go to now, and have a quick talk about this Loopi pedal and dual recording. All right, now I've cleaned up all the tape everywhere and made myself a hot drink. Time for some final thoughts on how I feel about the Loopi pedal, this splitter that I've got. So first thing is my very first impression when I bought this. I actually thought, now I haven't opened up and had a look inside, and there's no use because I don't know much about the electronics. I know how they work, but I don't know how all the insides mash up and be put together. My first impression was, this is probably gonna not be crash hot. I thought, nah. A lot of the time with audio signal, and it's the same with visual signals as well, as soon as you break it off into multiple different sections, you lose quality, or something is lost within the chain, for lack of a better term. So when I saw this, I thought, there's no power running through it to be able to boost it. There's nothing really to indicate that, you know, it's going to have the same amount of output coming out than from what you're actually putting in. But I was pleasantly surprised that that wasn't the case at all. In fact, the amount that gave out was nearly identical. It was nearly straightforward, as in, I don't know if my guitar's in frame here, but normally with this guitar, because the pickups are pretty, I don't know how to really describe it, pretty hot in regards to how they react. So normally when I recorded that guitar, if I'm going in dry, I'll go dry via my mixer so I can control the volume going through. Because normally going straight into the interface, a lot of people run into the problem of exactly like what we did, running this straight to the interface. It came in far too hot and it was peaking and it started to break up the sound way too much to be usable. So, and that's what this is all about, creating a signal to be usable. Which brings me on to my next thing, which is just grabbing this and using the volume to chuck down -6 dB from it, which worked out an absolute charm, because after that, the signal that we had coming through was extremely nice, extremely clear, extremely usable, and the results that we got when we put it through, when we reamped it into the digital amp was amazing. It was spectacular. Really worked out a charm. In saying that though, take nothing away from this in regards to it worked a charm going through the Victory amp here as well, and through the 2 notes of my load box. So running those signals simultaneously and dual capturing them, one through external equipment and then going direct in for the internal equipment, was spot on. It was great. Which, let's just talk about something that I was thinking about while doing this as well, which is, firstly, me having a quick drink, so I'm speaking a lot, which is using what you have in the studio. I'm not a fan of the attitude of buying for the sake of buying, or not so much buying for the sake of buying, but thinking that you need more when you've probably got enough in your own studio or other stuff you can easily work with. I don't have a proper DI and reamping box. I have this direct box, which I got for live, which works really well for splitting the signal and for reamping. It just works out like that. But I know there are some really good ones out there. I think they're called Radar equipment. Hopefully I'll put a picture up there of what I'm thinking of, that primarily are designed for reamping and for doing exactly what we're doing, like in this video, and I've done in the past. I'd love to try one of them out to give it a shot, but at the moment, far too pricey. So when I decided to do a video on dual recording, my very first one, I first just grabbed this and went, this will absolutely do the trick. Now, I didn't actually do that because I have used this before to do it, but I knew that I could use this instead of having to buy something that is designed purely for reamping, because there's other things that can do the same trick. Same with this. This can actually do the exact same trick, which is good. Which brings me to the EQ band. Now, as you can see, it's not flat. I just left the EQ there because I was doing a quick one, and it's for an example, not for anything else. So the signal was slightly altered just a tad because of the EQ, but the main thing was I boosted down the volume. Now, from a non-practical perspective, I could have stopped the video and thought, I don't have, this is coming in far too hot. I need something to actually fix this. What could fix it? A volume pedal, or a pedal that's just got a purely volume signal on it, and that's it, a one knob trick thing. I could have done that. I could have gone out, bought one, done it. But the thing I love about a lot of this audio stuff is sometimes you've got the stuff lying around that you can just use. Is this designed to do what we needed to do today? Absolutely not. Can it do that and plus a lot more? It absolutely can. Work within your means, work with what you got, and try to make stuff work before just running out and getting something 100% specific for one little thing to do it. Which sounds like an absolute contradiction because I've got this direct box and I just did a video on the Loopi pedal that does the exact same thing. I absolutely understand and notice and respect the irony in that. But because I do these YouTube videos and this was on the cheap side, I thought it's definitely worth trying out to see if this is just a gimmick or if it can actually work for anyone out there that is thinking about doing dual style recordings, like what we did in this video, having your own sound going through there as well as a dry signal. So you've got it either for a backup, or you could use it as a side chain to help it for gate or noise reducing or anything else that you might want to use it for if you want to get super fancy in the studio there, or just to have it as a backup. It's really good. Or if you want to reamp it through other pedals and use external equipment going via this amp head or a different amp head. The opportunities are absolutely endless if you approach it with having a DI signal as well. And I'm also still a firm believer in capturing the sound that the guitarist really likes and what they're used to, so they can actually perform to their best. But what are your thoughts on this? How did you feel about putting all this stuff together to get a dry signal? And using something like this to help control the sound going into the audio interface. Because I know when a lot of people do reviews on audio interfaces, they speak about how they can't get the signal low enough to get a good enough capture of the wave files that they're creating. So something like this can be, now it's absolutely subject to what you are recording and how you're recording it, but this could be a very easily and cheap solution, something like this, if you've got it lying around, or if you want to buy something that rather than buying a whole new interface, because this would absolutely be more cost effective and you'd be able to utilize it for other things compared to just going out and buying a whole new audio interface or whatever someone's issue or concern might actually be. So yeah, definitely what are your thoughts on those type of things and this type of subject, and using something as small and as simple as this to split a signal? Because yeah, as I said, I was pleasantly surprised and pleasantly proven wrong of my initial thoughts of this little pedal here, which is really good, very good. So I think I'll wrap it up there because I definitely have babbled on a lot and I'm keen to rest my voice a bit and finish my hot drink because I have babbled on a lot. But yeah, as my computer skills are getting a little bit better with capturing different visual aspects and matching it up with the audio, I'm having fun enjoying these screen captures of the studio and talking through while I'm doing it, and you hearing the sound live as I'm actually utilizing it and running through whatever I'm running through. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to do a few more videos like this as well, so we can get delve into more the recording side and editing side or mixing side, and that other than just what's on the external equipment on my desk here. But definitely keen for your thoughts if you have any ideas for any other videos or things you would like to see. And if I can cater for it and do it, I absolutely will. I've got a Facebook page which I do most of my chatting through, but also feel free to leave a comment here, because the good thing about comments here is other people chime in as well and make it more of a community conversation rather than just yourself and me. But I'm happy either way. They're both good, they're both fun. So, thoroughly enjoyed you joining me on this little journey and trying this stuff out. And I absolutely look forward to chatting with you again next time. And until next time, please, stay safe.